Welcome to Clicks and Coffee. Today I'm joined by Shawn Beasy, Operating Director for Cornerstone Caregiving in Columbus, Ohio. With over a decade of experience in caregiving and rehabilitation, Shawn combines professional expertise with personal insight stemming from caring for his grandfather-in-law to lead with empathy and precision. Today, he oversees tailored in-home care services from dementia support to VA-funded program, bringing peace of mind and personalized options to families across Central Ohio. Shawn, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Alex. Appreciate it.
So one of the things that I love about this industry is that a lot of the time people working in industry do that because they care and because of, personal stories and personal relation to the industry. So could you tell us a little bit about your personal journey in caregiving and how your experience with your grandfather-in-law shaped your leadership style?
Yeah, definitely. So I got into Cornerstone after finding a need for a loved one, my wife's grandfather, who moved in with us pretty suddenly after her grandmother passed away from COVID. And when he moved in with us, we realized pretty quickly that his memory was starting to fade, and he also needed some help with just exercise and physical therapy. So started bringing in some skilled home health, and then started considering some options for non-skilled kind of private caregiving. During that kind of search, we discovered Cornerstone Caregiving, and also discovered that they were hiring for somebody to operate the company here in Columbus. So it's funny how things work out. So I actually applied for the job and obviously got the job about 4 years ago. But then during that time and up until this past October, we had Grandpa living at our house and providing care for him and just kind of going through things that every family caregiver goes through. So it's been unique in walking through that type of experience, and then meeting with families doing our job that are walking through similar experiences, and kind of sharing that I do have some personal experience walking through that and knowing what that feels like and the stress and everything that comes with that. So that's kind of how I got into the caregiving. My wife is a nurse here in Columbus at a local hospital, and so she's got the very extensive medical background. And together, I think we were able to do a good job with Grandpa and get him the resources he needed at home.
Oh, that's great. And so it really allows you to kind of put in place, I would say, processes that you can apply or that you
Yeah,
can see the effect, personally, really.
yeah,
Uh,
and I think like sharing the stories with families about, oh yeah, I had a similar situation where I had to drop everything suddenly to rush home and help with whatever it was. It kind of resonates with families and builds some trust there.
no, for sure. No, I know. And similar experience with my grandfather, same thing is, if they have a fall or something, you kind of need to act really, really quickly. And
Yeah.
so, with over a decade of experience in care and rehab, what are the common challenges that family face, and how do you help them navigate those?
Yeah, I think one of the most common is just kind of the overwhelming sense of one, just not knowing what to do. And if you've never worked in the industry or been involved with getting care for a loved one, it can be extremely overwhelming. You know, if somebody goes to the hospital and they're setting up discharge and you're the sole caregiver, you have to figure out your work schedule, your children's schedule, the skilled home health, the doctor's appointments, everything that comes with that. And so I think that can be quite a bit for people, and they get easily confused with home health versus home care and all of these different things, and they're not sure who to call or if it's been set up for them by the social worker. So I think that generally the biggest thing is just that overwhelming sense of this is all new. I've never done this and I don't know who to call or what to do, and I can't do it by myself. I think is a very common thing that we see.
Yeah, no, for sure. And one of the common theme is get informed before it's too late or before you have to do
Yeah.
it, so that way you kind of know what to do. And it's a very recurring theme,
Mhm.
but we can never say it enough, I would say.
Yeah.
And so can you tell us a little bit more about Cornerstone and what services do you guys offer, and how does it work if somebody wants to work with Cornerstone?
Sure, sure. So Cornerstone was founded about 5 years ago in Waco, Texas, by two gentlemen, Michael Hillman and Ryan Gibson. They're our founders, and they've been in this industry for 20 plus years. We operate a little bit different because most companies that do what we do are individual franchises. We
Mhm.
are not. So we have our two founders down in Waco, and then they hire people like me to operate the individual offices for them. So I'm here in Columbus, Ohio. The services that we provide are all deemed non-medical or non-skilled. So caregiving services, basic help with showering, dressing, assistance with exercise, preventing falls, and then the other things like housekeeping, meal preparation, transportation, are all services that we provide to folks that are wanting to remain at home instead of going into an assisted living or memory care facility. One of the big pieces of Cornerstone is that we are a VA provider. So we're able to connect veterans with free in home care services through our VA contract. And that makes up about half of our business here in Columbus. So it's an awesome
Oh,
service to give back to the veterans here in the community and
for
share the
sure.
word that they don't have to pay for this service out of pocket. They've earned it through their benefits. So that's a great service that we're able to provide here and in most of our offices nationwide. I think we're about 300 locations or so now. So it's been a very fast growing company. I think when I started, we had about 20 locations, and now we're up to about 300. Yeah, so they're moving pretty quickly, but growing smart and growing with a good plan in place. So I think we do a great service. We have a great reputation in the community. Um, so we work with a lot of social workers at the hospitals and skilled nursing facilities to set up that care plan or provide education to families about what private care looks like when they get home.
And so one of the thing that I know you guys are doing is to try to be as personalized as possible in the service. So how do you like what is the approach to make sure that the care
Yeah,
plan that you put in place is truly personalized for the for each person basically?
yeah, that's a really good question, and that's something that we pride ourselves on because either myself or our assistant director will go out and meet with every single family and do an in-home assessment or do an assessment at a facility or hospital wherever the family is at the time, and just learn about what their needs are, what their pain points are. And we're extremely flexible in developing a schedule that works for them. So we're able to do as few as like 1 hour per day or per week, even. We have
Oh,
no minimum requirement. Um, we also are able to do up to 24-hour care, and we don't require people to sign a long term commitment or anything like that. We really try to meet them where they're at, and then we list tons and tons of attributes and ADLs, obviously, that are specific to that client. And we do the same thing with our caregivers so that when they are both in our system, we can see a percentage match of 95 to 100% and kind of talk to them about working together instead of just throwing somebody out there that, we have no idea if they like cats or if they can use a Hoyer or a gait belt. We really look for somebody that's going to match with them and what their needs are.
no, that's pretty impressive. And one of the things I think I discussed in a previous podcast is that we're seeing a big increase. Or I don't know if it's big, but we're seeing a trend that more and more people. So we know that we have everybody talks about the silver tsunami and that senior living communities are gonna have too much to take care of. But we're
Mhm.
also seeing a trend which is people don't necessarily want to go to senior living communities and prefer to stay home and rely on services like yours. Do you think that is because of this trend that Cornerstone is growing like it's growing, or do you really see like a big uptick that doesn't feel like a normal uptick and more like really a trend that's growing and growing of
Yeah.
these type of decisions in people's lives?
I think it is a trend that's growing, and I don't see it slowing down, to be honest. I think for me, relatively new in the field, I think the turning point was COVID and families seeing that if their loved one is in a community, they're really restricted to a lot of things at times. And so COVID was obviously a huge deal and probably won't happen again in our lifetime. But I think that really showed people that they need to consider, yeah, fingers crossed, consider other options. And I think if you ask anybody right now, of 30 years old or older, probably 80 to 90% are going to say, no, I want to live in my home forever. Not too many people are like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get to a senior community, right? So I think if it's left up to the choice of the clients, they're going to want to remain at home for as long as possible. And I think families are now seeing that there's options to keep people at home that are financially make sense, and just from a personal perspective of having a one-on-one caregiver and not having like 20 to 25 to 1 ratio, they're able to find someone that they trust, build a relationship with, and keep their loved one at home safely.
And do you think that with all of the new trends in home care, like telehealth, safety technology, sensors, monitoring, and all this stuff, do you think that also is helping with the trend,
Yeah.
making it easier? And how do you guys also take advantage of that in your business to also provide
Mhm.
better care?
Yeah, it's definitely helping. I mean, if you look 20 or 30 years ago about what the options were in home care versus a facility care, the facilities had a lot of advantages to keep people a lot safer. Now, with all the technology, the telehealth, yeah, I mean, we can provide pretty much everything a community can. I mean, you can bring in physicians, you can bring in registered nurses, you can do just about everything, with the exception of the social engagement and community feeling. And communities are great for some people, but I
Mhm.
do think that we've been trying to focus more on partnerships with other services that do come in home, so that when we meet with families, we educate them on all of the other partners we work with that we can bring to their home, and really sell them on that yes, we just do the caregiving piece, but if we see a need for wound care, or we see a need for a traveling physician or things like that, we're going to help you bring those people in because we trust them, we work with them. And so I think that keeps our clients in home for a longer period of time, because they know that we have resources that we can bring to them, and they don't need to make a bunch of phone calls or outsource things or consider communities as soon as they typically would have.
Hmm. And what are the technologies that you guys have put in place at Cornerstone to help you with that? Do you have any? Is it like just the standard, I would say, or do you have any like things that you're really pushing because you feel like it's gonna help um, better care and growing the company as well?
Yeah, as far as Cornerstone goes, we use a system with our scheduling and all of our clients and caregivers called Access Care. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, Alex, but it's now got some AI capabilities that we're using, and one of the things is daily visit notes, which we've always had, and we can always look at, but now we can actually run a report, and the AI system within Access Care will show priority levels. And so, without the caregivers even reaching out to us or families reaching out to us, the moment they save their care notes, they're going to prioritize based on safety first and prioritize, any emergencies that are logged. And so we check those every day. And so when we see a couple of people that are higher up on that list, we're able to call families and say, hey, our caregiver reported a decline, or blood pressure was low today, or something like that. So we're able to catch things quicker than before because of some technology that we now have.
That's pretty. So it's meaning like the idea is to be as proactive as possible,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
we all know that the more preventive you can be, the easier it's gonna be also for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
No, that's really really cool. Uh, and one of the other issue that we know in senior care is staffing, and it's always an issue. And so, what are the strategies that you and your company build to have people that are going to be reliable and compassionate also with the clients of the company?
Yeah, that is a huge challenge. And I'd be lying if I said that we are not facing staffing challenges all the time. But the thing that we have done really well here at Cornerstone is relied on our corporate office down in Texas to kind of drive a lot of advertisement for recruiting. So we handle the interviews and onboarding here locally, but they kind of drive the traffic through search engines and Indeed and things like that. And we kind of have a standard that we want to hire at least 10 caregivers every single week. So we have a lot of staff. Yeah.
Wow.
But what that enables us to do, and we're honest with them when we bring them in and telling them we are always going to be overstaffed because you never know when somebody's going to need around the clock care. It can happen in one phone call. And so we never want to be in a position that we can't onboard a new client because we don't have caregivers. So often we will have 20, 30 caregivers that are just kind of sitting in our waiting pool for new clients or new hours. So that's kind of our strategy, and bringing in just more than what we need so that we're always ready to accept new clients. The other things we do is we're huge on caregiver appreciation. Actually, the last 3 years, our company has given the National Caregiver Award winner a brand new car. So, yeah. Two
Wow.
years 2 years ago, it was in Youngstown, Ohio. So I got to go to that event where our owners flew in, presented the car to the caregiver. But we've been able to do that the last 3 years, and we'll do it again this year. So I don't know many companies that are doing vehicle giveaways for their caregiver of the year, but that's something that our founders really instilled into us, is that you have to take care of your caregivers and value them because they're caring for our clients. And so if we're taking care of them, they're going to take care of our clients. And so we're really big on just checking in with them, talking to them often, taking them gifts, paying them well, um, and just giving them the respect that they've earned, because it's not an easy job.
No, no, for sure. And as I said, it's like you really need to be also committed and passionate about helping people to really do that well. And so, um, you know, you are on a marketing podcast, so of course I'm gonna have to ask you a little bit about that.
Yeah,
But also,
yeah,
it's also to, show. So if I'm hearing correctly, your company, you've been growing, pretty rapidly. You always make sure that you have enough staff, so that way the caregivers, caregivers are always not stretched too thin, which
hmm
also does not help with being happy when you have too much work to do, and
yeah.
that also reflects on the work. So that's one of the strategy. But what do you think on the, I would say, outbound or sales side of things, is really helping Cornerstone grow? And like, what are the strategies that you guys have put in place, without saying like any secret? But I'm
Yeah.
sure that you guys are doing always something smart, and that would show how explain your growth.
Yeah, it's honestly pretty simple. I mean, I don't come from a long sales and marketing background, so I keep it very, very simple, Alex, and just first and foremost, just be very transparent and honest with referral sources that we work with. Um, I think now that we've done it for a few years here in Columbus, we can rely on our name and rely on the stories that families tell through either good reviews or just personal experiences, word of mouth. Um, but really just going in and telling families we're customizable, we're flexible, we have no hourly minimums. Our rates are competitive with every other private caregiving company. We are well established with the VA across the country. And so we've got kind of a standard that's pretty high. If you're going to be one of the trusted providers at the VA that's called on nationwide, you got to make sure you're providing a good service. And so when we meet with families, when we meet with referral sources, we tell them all of these beautiful things, but we also tell them that there's going to be moments that aren't as pretty, and there's going to be call offs, and there's going to be incidents that occur. But we do a very good job at is relaying to the families that we're going to fix that problem if it arises, and we have contingency plans for every situation that they can think of, so that their loved one always has, care. So they're never going to go without care. We've always got people on standby ready to go. So I think just that transparency, the honesty, and accountability on our end, if we do screw something up, has led to our growth.
Nice. And on the digital marketing aspect of it, I see you guys have a very nice website. How do you, how do you, or what did you guys have done, in order to grow your digital presence? Because we know now that everybody that starts a search
Mhm.
somewhere, they are going first to go to Google or
Yeah.
things like that. And now we're even seeing ChatGPT.
Yeah.
We're seeing a big uptick actually in that, and we're really working on at Pentelope. We're really working on figuring out how all those system works and how companies can appear in the searches. Because at the end of the day, all those system, what they do is that they gather data from sources and
Yeah.
then analyze and then spit them out to the user. So
Right.
how do you make sure that those systems will take your company and then do it? So how are you guys, working on that side of things on the digital marketing? Because the referral and referral word of mouth is always a great source because it's pretty trusted, but we also know that reviews are getting even more trusted than referrals, which is pretty crazy
Yeah.
when you think
Right.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how it is. And so how at Cornerstone, how are you guys, approaching this, especially in a competitive landscape of home care?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, Alex, a lot of the efforts are done at the corporate office. We have a digital marketing team that runs all of our Google ads and puts out a ton of content on our company website, on our company LinkedIn page, Facebook page. But when they talk with us operating directors, they're huge on we need to be posting a few times a week, every week. We need to be encouraging clients to leave good reviews. We need to put updated real pictures on our Google page. We need to share and tag every time we do an event. So if I do an event at a hospital, I need to post it on Facebook, tag the hospital, tag the people that were there, encourage them to share it, and just share as much as we can. But I think one of the big things that we're pushing for here lately is just having a kind of a standard of uh, a brand and making sure that all of the offices nationwide have a similar look, a similar brand that's clean, that's professional. And so really just from even using the same Canva templates for when somebody leaves a review, we want that to look similar so that nationwide we're kind of looking the same and looking polished,
Just
uh,
like your background.
just like the background. Yeah, we've all got the same logo. So yeah,
It looks
and
very nice. I look at that. As you said, it looks very professional. I really like. I think you guys are doing a very good job.
yeah, thanks. From the websites to even our vehicles that are all wrapped and nice. Um, we have a generous marketing budget because we're able to manage our overhead. We're able to get out tons of brochures and materials like these little guys here that just look nice and clean. And so I got to give credit to the corporate office. They roll out a great plan to make it easy for us to just copy and paste and get the word out.
No, but it seems to me you guys are doing a good job because that's the biggest thing in digital marketing is always, as I tell everybody, it's a grind. And
Mm.
you have the strategy, but then you have to apply it, but you have to apply it on every single front, day
Yeah.
in and day out. And that's when eventually, it starts bearing its fruit because it compounds. And
Yeah.
so it's always like, I always like the image of a hot air balloon where, you when it starts, hot air balloon is flat, but it's
Hmm.
gigantic balloon, and then it takes a long time to start inflating. But
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it inflates and it goes up, and that's when you get all the benefits, and then it just keeps rising,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
which is how digital marketing works in my opinion. But
Yeah.
at least the organic side of things. But it
Yeah.
takes time.
It does take time. And I think another thing that I've learned, and just collaborating with other operating directors with the digital marketing side, if a family is searching similar to the job seeking side, if somebody is searching for a caregiving job or somebody is seeking care for a loved one, they're often going to reach out to the top 3 or 4 companies. And you have to be timely. You have to have speed. So as soon as you get the lead or as soon as you get an application, you have to call right away call, email, text right away. I think that's helped us grow because we move pretty quickly. We don't sit on things.
So it's really speed and I would say dedication
Yeah, yeah,
of doing it, making sure you're doing it.
yeah. Like for example, Alex, just a quick story. Just yesterday, we got a digital lead, and maybe it was 2 days ago. Called the family. It was about 2 o'clock, and I kind of had an initial, overview call with them and said, okay, well, how soon are you guys looking to have help? And they said right now. So we were able to get out there by 2:45, I think it was, and they wanted to start that night at 8 p.m. and we had somebody there by 8 p.m. And so when they're calling other companies, they're like, okay, we can come out in a few days to meet with you guys, or maybe next week or something like that. And we win a lot of times with speed and dedication and being able to quickly act like that because we know we have the staffing ability, um, and just the availability to get out and quickly assess and get people assigned to a schedule.
And that goes back to what we were talking at the beginning, where people call when it's already kind of
Yeah,
not too
yeah.
late, but like needed right away. So
Mhm.
that is really, adapting yourself with the market and what people need. And I imagine sometime before they might have gone to the hospital or something, but now they know they have the care. And so
Yeah.
it's really like they didn't research, and like now the situation changed. And a little bit what happened also with your grandfather-in-law, where I was
Mm.
like, all of a sudden, like, you need to take care, and it's right there and then. So it's great that you guys are able to move that quickly.
Yeah, yeah. I think it gives us a huge advantage, really, just being able to move fast, but also you have to do a good job. And so if we ever
Yes,
are in a situation where we're moving fast and we show up and we truly feel like, okay, this is going to take more time because maybe the family wants a specific type of caregiver, or they only want the same caregiver every single time for an immediate start of care, that's really challenging. And so we never want to go in and promise the world and fall short. So, we will tell them, if you want the same person, we cannot start right now because it's going to take a little more brainstorming to figure out how this person can be consistent with you guys. So
exactly.
you
No,
have to
it's
keep
nice.
score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to be upfront and transparent. And I think that's one of the big changes that we're seeing also, is a lot of families, and specifically in communities, where people are asking for transparency.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening with my mom? What's happening with my dad? Like, can I see them? And so they are really trying to do that, and making sure that there is problem happens, but at least we're transparent and honest with everything, and not
Yeah.
trying to hide anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's so true.
So, Shawn, it was a true pleasure to have you and to hear the story of Cornerstone Giving, at least for your part of the US,
Yeah.
and how you guys are really, trying to make a big difference and helping people, and making sure they can stay home a little bit longer and enjoy the home that they don't want to sell and don't want to live in. I understand, once you have a good house, it's nice to stay as long as you can. And it's
Yeah.
difficult to change, all the habits as well. So it's a stressful time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I truly wish you all the best, and look forward to hearing, more growth about Cornerstone.
Thanks, Alex. It's been a pleasure and I appreciate you having me on.